Your personal data is worth real money, and not just in a vague companies like data way. I mean actual dollar amounts. Some brokers value a complete profile at $438, and others go over $1,200, depending on what they know about you. And the crazy thing is, you're constantly doing things, whether you know it or not, to make that number go up without even realizing it. Let's break down exactly how much your data is worth, who's collecting it, and how they're turning your online life into profit. And we'll start with some real numbers. I'm Josh, software exec with almost 2 decades of experience designing, building, and running software companies. And on this channel, we go inside the secrets of the software industry. So data isn't just sold as, one giant package with your name on it. It's sold in categories, and each category has its own price. So let me show you what that would look like in real-world context. Something like location history might be between 2 cents or 20 cents a day. Browsing history would be fractions of a cent per page. And then shopping habits, things up to 50 cents a category. Then demographics going along the lines of 10 cents to 60 cents, and contact info between 20 cents and 30 cents. Finally, you've got financial and behavioral predictions, which go really high. That's $1 to $15. And individually, these don't look like much, right? Those are really small numbers, but they add up really quickly because you're generating thousands and thousands of data points every day. Things like clicking, every time you scroll, whether you're scrolling and seeing something or you're scrolling past something and ignoring it. Both of those are valuable data points. Purchases, what you're shopping for, you're searching for, location data. When a broker combines all of that for a full profile, that's when it can sell for hundreds of dollars, sometimes over $1,000 if you fall into specific valuable demographics, categories like high income, a new homeowner, or a parent, or if you have specific medical needs or insurance interests, because those are areas they know they can market. So your data absolutely has a dollar value. You're just not the one pocketing it, or at least not directly, but you are benefiting from it, which we will get to at the end. Before we go deeper, if you find this kind of thing helpful, take a second to like the video and subscribe, as it genuinely helps push this kind of content to more people who have no idea what their data is being used for. So how does all this data get collected, right? Who is it out there who's spying on me? And the answer is everyone. Almost every digital transaction, everything you do, it leaves a trace. Apps, websites, every visit logs your device, your location, your behavior, timing, how long you're on a page, how long before you scroll, when you click away. Even anonymous data, it's not truly anonymous because it can be cross-referenced with that other data. And this is a place where things like tracking scripts are used. So you might visit one website, but it loads code from 5 or 10 or sometimes 50 plus other companies, some things you've never even heard of. And these scripts, they're all gathering and cross-referencing everything, from your cursor movement to your purchase intentions, and they're cross-referencing it into one place or a bunch of different places, but they're all sharing that data. Another big one is your phone's location data, right? A lot of apps will request location access, and then they turn around and sell that information to advertisers, hedge funds, data brokers. Then there's loyalty programs, right? If you ever wonder what's in it for them, it's not just your loyalty, right? They're learning about your purchasing habits, and it's making it really easy for them to track. And then there's just literally everything about online shopping, pretty much, everything down to your email receipts, it's all tracked. The retailers are sharing and selling that purchase history because the buying habits you have predict future spending better than any of the other data that's out there. But why is it so important, right? What is so valuable about your data? Because companies don't just collect that data to have it in a collection sitting on a display shelf somewhere, right? They collect it because it's an engine for useful things, right? For predicting your future actions and influencing them. And that's the key point, the influence. Because on that prediction side, your data tells companies a lot of different things. It tells them, what you're going to buy next, when you'll buy it, what you're going to click on, where you'll go to click on it, how likely you are to stay on or to leave a platform, and even your financial stability and credit score. And when they get that, they can predict you and what you're going to do, and then they can monetize you. And that's the end goal there, is monetization. And it leads into that influence part, right? Because on the influence side, Your data helps companies make decisions. Things like what ads they'll show you, when they'll show them to you, what recommendations are going to appear, how your feed is going to be shaped, what it's going to look like, what's going to go in it, which notifications are the ones that tend to pull you back in. Your entire online world, what you're seeing every day when you're browsing, it's all tailored based on what your data says about you. Right? So in essence, companies aren't just collecting information, they're building a model of who you are so that they can profit from that information. But how do they action on that profit? Right? There's a few different main places. The first is targeted advertising, and this is the big one because platforms like Google, Meta, TikTok, almost every free app that you use, they create these little micro profiles that show ads designed specifically for you and for your behavior. The second is direct data sales. And what that is when the apps aren't using the data themselves, they're just bundling it and selling it out to a data broker. And then those brokers, they collect data from lots of individuals, they bundle that and they resell it to financial institutions, insurance companies, political groups, or even private analytics firms. Third way they can actually make money from this is from real-time ad auctions. And what that is, that's an interesting one because every time an ad spot loads, companies are bidding for your attention based on what they know about you, and often that happens in milliseconds real time. The fourth one is algorithm training. So this one's a little bit newer in some ways, and pretty much your clicks, your pauses, your scrolls, all that is training recommendation systems. And those are used to drive engagement, drive more ad revenue, keep you coming back and keeping you hooked. And then finally, the fifth one is the prediction. So some data, it's not used today, it's just stored away for future use and future predictions about your behavior, your trends, and your spending. And importantly, it's bundled with lots of other people's data so that they can make big, broad assumptions about large, different demographic groups. So what can you do? At the end of the day, can you stop companies from collecting your data entirely? Or can you benefit from it somehow? So you might not be able to actually cash a check with your own data, right? But you are already seeing some of those benefits. See, every time you sign up for a free app or a free subscription or use something that you don't directly have to pay for, that's your data paying for you. Because as the saying goes, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. And if you don't want to be the product, then there's a few ways that you can reduce the flow of your data. And a couple high impact steps that you can take are things like disabling location permissions for apps, especially if they don't need it. A lot of apps use it and request it, but it's not required. You can turn off ad personalization on Google or Facebook, Apple and Android. All those usually have somewhere hidden away, somewhere in the settings, a check mark to turn off personalization so they won't track and personalize your ads. You can use privacy-focused browsers, or you can also reject the tracking cookies whenever possible. So that one's only about 50-50 actually doing anything though, and we can get into cookies in another video. Another one is to never, ever, ever use free VPNs. If you're using a VPN to hide your data and it's free, all you're doing is giving your data to somebody else. If you want to learn more on VPNs, check out this video up here that I have on VPNs, how they work, and some of the common myths about them. Finally, you can use email aliases. And this is a great one. You can just do a Google on how to do this. Almost every email supports them. And it's also just a great way of kind of sectioning off different things you're getting email from anyway. So that's kind of the long and short of it, right? Your data has a real dollar value. It's collected constantly, and it powers all of the free things that you're using, which is kind of how you're getting some of your money back. So if you found that helpful, or at least interesting, don't forget to like the video. If you got tips and tricks to avoid being tracked on the internet, drop them in the comments below. I'm sure YouTube will love that. And if you'd like to see more videos on software in the tech industry, follow along with the channel. There'll be more coming soon.